Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Cyberspeak Labs. My name is Rihanna Schultz, and I'm going to be your aide today as I guide you through different learning opportunities here in the lab. I do have a very awesome, very friendly, outgoing guest that we have today in the lab. So I'm going to welcome Wil. Hi, Wil.
Hello and hello lab, all of you. I hope everybody's nice and comfy in their dark rooms, underneath whatever it is, keeping themselves warm, looking at logs or threats or whatever it is y'all do down there. I don't know.
In reality, we just browse
Yeah, just
suggested by you on Amazon.
yeah, exactly. It's like Amazon, exactly.
With the lo-fi YouTube playlist.
Okay, so we are the same. It's fine. Yeah, same.
It's fine. As you can tell, like if you're watching the video, if you're not listening, but actually like watching this, Wil is in what I call his cave, and like you go to like my view, and it's sunshine and rainbows and happy plants.
I did just go down the whole with starting my own I just went down the whole, like, speaking of Amazon, like, I need better lighting. How can I do this? And like going down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos and setting up all the lighting. So that's why everything like looks all profesh right now.
You need some of those like glow in the dark stickers for your ceiling, so you can have like a whole galaxy above
Oh,
you.
that's a good idea. I've got a little lightsaber, but when I put it back there, it was too bright and distracting, and it just made everything else look wonky.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, well, so to kind of kick this off, tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and what you're passionate.
Sure. So let's see. Yeah. I've been doing cybersecurity and technology for almost 25 years now, just forever. Most of that time I spent in consulting and managed security services. So, um, you're from everything from like Big Four to SMB mid-market stuff. I've been a virtual CISO. I'm a field CISO right now. And interestingly enough, most of the time I spent in those companies, I've kind of had every role that exists. So like I've built and ran pre-sales teams, I've managed the channel, I've done product development and product management, I've done product marketing. I've been a C-level executive. I've done good old-fashioned operations. Pretty like if there's a silo within those kinds of organizations, I've built and or ran or fit into it at some point. So passionate. I don't know. I guess, man, I always thought when I have these sessions, I always say, man, I wish I could just get paid to mentor people.
Yeah.
Because like that's at this point, like I've been saying the same thing for those of you who are new or just getting into the industry, and for those of you who've been in a long time, either way, this will resonate. You just kind of say the same stuff over and over and over because it's still just about risk, right? Like the technology might change and some of the stuff, but like the basic facts of what you have to do is all the same. So I feel like, the security stuff is kind of like, I'm not gonna say easy because it's never easy. But yeah, like I really do enjoy being able to, impart my knowledge and kind of talk to people and share stories and experiences. And I just like helping people too. Like I learned a long time ago how important my network is and how much that's I made some bad assumptions early on. Not bad, but like I made some assumptions that things were going to be easier than they were. And then I realized that when you neglect it, you don't get what you need out of it. And so I've made a point to not do that ever again and constantly nurture it, but also be as responsive as I can to anybody else I can help. So that's kind of, that. Other than that, I've had about 50 hobbies at least. So if there's some weird, obscure topic that anybody wants to talk about, I probably know a little bit about it. I like to say quite proudly that I know a whole little about a lot, but I don't know a whole lot about any one thing.
What's that saying? A master,
Jack of all trades, master of none. Yep, for sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wear
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
pride.
And I think if I remember correctly, our very first conversation, we were at an event, we're at a Appalachia conference, and we were just kind of talking. It took me a while to remember your name. Like it's 3 letters, and it took me almost that entire conference to be like, Wil, I am. That's that guy. So, when we like our very first conversation where I was like, this guy's gonna be my best friend and he's gonna like it, was when we were talking about board games.
Yeah.
And I was like, Do you know what a meeple is?
The-
Yes, the meeple tattoo.
That's right. I forgot that's and it's crazy because we were connected for the longest time on LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and that was like the first real face-to-face conversation we had.
all because of that tattoo. So now, Will, you talked about mentorship. What was one moment in your journey where you're like that, like the light bulb, you could just see your mentee's light bulb light
Mhm.
up and you're like, wow, like I invested into someone. What was that moment and how did you see that investment return?
Oh man. I don't think I have a single one moment where that's happened. And sometimes I don't get to see the light. Sometimes it's text. Sometimes it's somebody on LinkedIn. Sometimes I help somebody for 20 minutes, and sometimes I help somebody for years. It just depends. But I think it is that not the I guess to kind of not the twinkle in your eye, but like yeah, when they get it, when they realize like, hey, like you said, I was talking to somebody today, and they're like, I do a lot of stuff around go to market, GTM stuff, which is a complicated but not complicated thing to talk about, right? And somebody I was talking to today was like, well, what do you mean by that? What is that? And I was like, okay, cool, let me explain it. Like, here's what it is. And they're like, oh, I get it. Okay, I understand. Like being able to um like communicate and translate something from one side to the other, whether that is a technical person and teaching about marketing or even educating salespeople. It just happens a lot in my line of work. I spend a lot of time. What I jokingly say, I can go talk to the. Well, it's not a joke. It's just a funny way to tell the story, right? I always say I can go and talk to the product people and the service people and do beep beep boop boop, and then come back to the marketing people and say big words, pretty pictures, and then come back to the salespeople and go goo goo gaga, right? And like break it down, like give you the bare. And that's not an insult to them. A little bit. I like to. I won't talk bad about them behind their backs, only to their faces, right? Because it's all in good fun. But it's like not everybody needs that same level of information, the same level of knowledge. So I think for me that's it. When I can kind of translate something that I've learned or understood to help somebody else get that, and the light, and you actually see the light bulb go on. That's kind of like that's an enjoyable moment for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cuckoo gaga. Trademark quote it. That's how you do sales pitches. AI, goo goo gaga.
Yep. Break it down Barney style. That's the old Marine Corps way of saying it. So
Yep.
I'm sure Derek has said that before a couple times too. So
Now, well, I'm sure you get this question often. If not, then oh well, I guess I'll be the first one to ask you. Um, how would you suggest someone to go find a mentor or how to mentor someone? Because oftentimes I get asked like, how do I go seek a mentor? How or even take what I know and give it back to someone to let it be value add?
yeah, so I'll tell a story. When I got into this industry because quite frankly, it was interesting and I knew it was going to be lucrative. Like I knew I was going to have a job for a long time. So when I finally, and so at that point in my career, when I decided, hey, I'm going to work in security, I did everything I could to make sure I find that full time gig and do all that work. And then when I got to, but I knew from the day one, I was like, I want to be a CISO. That was my goal. Like then,
Mhm.
and so when I probably about midway through my career when like I was doing everything I was doing and like I was asking people here and there. Like I got my master's degree because I talked to some CISO, and back then he was like, "That's kind of the way to become an executive." Like that was the path. Okay, cool. I would get like bits and pieces of information. But finally, I told my SVP at one of the firms I was working at, I was like, it literally was like, "You need to groom me. Like I need you to make me better. Like I'm doing everything I think is right. Like, what am I like? Why am I not your boss yet? Right? Very, very. Will was quite younger. Will was very confident in
Ambitious.
himself. Not the most humble person. And so and I remember when I talked to so I flew out to my boss's country club and we played golf for the day, and that was my first like mentoring session. And he asked me, played up straight up. He's like, well, "Okay, well, what do you want to do?" And I was like, Well, if you'd have asked me a few years ago, I was a few years into consulting at this point. I said I used to say I wanted to be a CISO, but now that I'm working with CISOs, I don't really want that job
No.
anymore. I'm much happier coming in and advising. And so, like, I say all that because that was kind of that's one thing is like I didn't know what I wanted to necessarily do. I was just focused on the next, like, just getting higher. Like I was just like constantly reaching, like just um being aggressively, like if there was an opportunity for me to take the next step, whatever that was, to kind of move around, and I was open to doing it. So I say all that because, like, when you're looking for that mentor, you need to find somebody who can, one, kind of body check you into that reality of the things. Because I used to talk in terms of like titles and pay, not necessarily responsibilities and outcomes. So that's kind of the first thing that the mentor mentee mentor thing kind of happens. The other thing I'd say is find somebody who is, you want to look for somebody who understands your industry, but also has the experience to take you where you want to go, right? And you may or may not know that, but that's kind of the thing, being like, you'll learn that over time. And you should have a couple mentors. I still have, I'd say, a handful of people that I know I can send an email to or pick up the phone or text anytime and say, hey, so and so, I've got this question, what do you think? What's your stuff? And be able to have that relationship. So I think, one, you want to be able to make sure you can have a long-standing relationship with somebody. Otherwise, it's just, I'm not gonna say it's transactional, because you can absolutely pay for coaching and mentoring things, and you can get a lot out of that. But kind of that relationship and that honesty that person's going to give you, like, you want to make sure like you guys are comfortable, like, together, like 100%, like not pull any punches kind of thing. So I think that's important. Then the other thing I think is, you don't always have to have mentors in your industry. So one of the first places I worked at, um, when I got out of the Marine Corps, they had a mentor program. So, like, it was like management training stuff. And the director assigned to me, that person had ran the warehouse, been a developer, now owned the development team, pretty much kind of like, and that's where he learned, where I learned, like, hey, if there's an opportunity for you to learn the business, to learn something else, like, take that into account. So you can find other bits of information. In fact, that's something I will talk about when I do my talks, that if they get accepted to where all of this submitted, but that's part of that career planning. Like, know where you want to go, but be open to other things.
Yeah. And you had some, like, valued, like, things that I wish I would have told my 20-year-old self when I was first getting into corporate, and it's just, you gotta well, first off, title chasing and pay chasing. I remember when I first started, I was like, "Oh, I want more money, I want more money." And then eventually you get to, like, a point in your life and you're like, "But I want retirement." You're
Yeah.
like, I make the money where I'm comfortable and I can get my Starbies, twice a week, but now I want stability.
I want to be able to retire before I'm 80, right? That's
Right. And then you're just like, "I wanna pay off my house. I wanna get a house, I wanna be done at 40," or whatever
Mhm.
unrealistic, realistic goal you're going for. But no, and, like, another thing, like, multiple mentors, I back that up 100%. My one mentor, she was in the Navy. She is scary and amazing at the same time, and she honestly helped me, like, get past it's okay to take a risk. It's okay to
Mm.
fail, essentially, like, that persona, because I feel like when you start, you get so intimidated with all the technical people around you, or, like, people that have experience, and you're just like, "I will never be that person." And then, like, the other mentor I have, I forced that friendship,
Mhm.
essentially, that mentorship, and I was just all like, "You are the opposite personality as me, and we're gonna be
That's
great
what you
friends,"
gotta do. Well, that's what I did. I was like, you're gonna do this because I'm telling you.
"You're gonna challenge me, and I'm gonna hate it."
Yeah. Oh, and I got my eyes awakened, and coming from a different world and mindset and everything. Yeah, it's super valuable, so helpful.
Yeah, for sure. So another thing you kind of mentioned this, and I wanted to bring it up, especially since we're hitting that halfway mark now. You have been booming all over social media. So you went from the corporate life to hello, welcome to being a content creator. What inspired you to start being more active on social media? And then tell us a little bit about your platform.
Sure. So there's two parts to that. The one is where I talked about like I had LinkedIn forever. I had connections. And then when I would go to need them, they weren't there. Like like if you don't nurse the plant, it's going to die essentially,
Yeah.
right? So I learned that. So that was where I was like, okay, I'm going to make an effort, and really what kind of shifted to the last, I don't know, 6 months or whatnot, like where I kind of changed is I was like realized that um it's not just a resume, right? You're selling yourself, and everybody like the whole idea of having a personal brand. And I feel it's almost weird to say it because I feel like everybody knows it at this point, but probably don't. Like your personal brand is so important, and
Yep.
it's important for your business, and it's valuable to your business. And I think I saw a little like when I started doing more um the last couple of roles I had, I was like the face of the company or the face of security. Like I
Oh,
was the
you're the poster
yeah,
child.
well, not supposed to. Like I was the like will speak good, put him in front of people, like that kind of stuff, right? So
Poster child.
it was like, we need somebody who can speak intelligently to the business. We've got all these, ones and zeros people back here, and he likes being on stage because he likes the attention. So, and he like, and I'm a creative in a technical field. I
Yeah.
used to be a creative writing major a long time ago for like a year, but that's a different story. So anyway, all of that, kind of like I kind of saw the light for all of that, and so I saw the value because just having my resume up there. The other part of it is what you just mentioned. Literally, like it's at a certain point you make enough money and you're, in a good place. And, like I've left jobs not because I wanted to, but because that's what happens in this field. Right.
Yep.
And so to build up stability, like that's how you build it up, build your personal brand, have stability, potentially build a second or third or extra streams of income. And I'm not into hustle lifestyle or hustle culture at all. Like I want to work as little as possible. Like I'm transparent with everybody. Like I meet with startups and all
I
the
just wanna
time.
make 6 to 8 figures
Yeah,
by
I'm like,
not doing
I just need to
anything.
get like 7 figures in the bank so I can stop working and be done. Like, like where are you guys at? What do you need from me? How can I help? And how much equity do I get? Right.
Next thing I know, like 2 years down the road, I'm getting a message on LinkedIn. It's like, "Hey, I'm selling essential oils. Are you interested?"
Yeah, exactly. I'll start my what Sensi account or whatever, my MLM scheme will come
Will
up.
Senses coming to you.
So yeah, so part of that was just like really shifting to be like and taking advantage of the platform because um if you're just if all you are is a shill's a bad word, but like if all you are is representing your company, which is
Yeah.
fine, you're actually doing a disservice to your company. One of our common friends, exactly, this blows up way more than both of us. Say Link, like we get lots of opportunities at the company because of that, right? And so I would also note to anybody who's considering that shift as one, they should do it, and two, your company shouldn't push back on that. If they do,
Yeah.
then you're working at the wrong place.
Yep.
Uh,
I
be-
will back that up. Yep. I like, and that hits hard too, and I remember before, I would say content creating, I don't like being called a content creator,
oh yeah, we
because
all hate. We have there's large group chats in LinkedIn at least of like all of the influencers who hate
yeah,
being called influencers and like will not say that word. And I'm like, no, it's a terrible thing.
it's no, because a lot of the like, especially people that are constantly out there like yourself, it's giving back to the community is how we view it,
Mhm.
because there's so many people out there that they just essentially need to hear about a journey or a failure or lessons learned so that way they can be set up for success, and then next thing you know, you're being called the C word,
Mhm.
creator. And you're just like, "No."
I think it's funny too, and you probably I know you've heard this,
Yeah.
but those who have like this the special badge, right?
Oh, yes.
they care so little about the fact that they have it.
You know, like, even like on LinkedIn, you contribute. After a while, I realized LinkedIn's just farming content off of you to feed back to their AI generator, and
Yeah.
you're just like, "Oh."
Yeah. Well, and even the ones who get like the actual like the not just the stupid one where you have to do the AI, like everybody I
But,
know who
like, the
has
LinkedIn endorsement one.
yeah, like that,
Yeah.
like the one you have to get invited, like all of everybody who has is like it means it doesn't mean anything. Like
You're like, "I can't endorse myself for those."
right, yeah, exactly. Like I think I posted about like I when I lost my cybersecurity whatever the hell they called it, like that I was the expert or whatever they
Yeah.
called it. I didn't even realize I'd lost it because I just was
And, like, another thing, like, it's just so hard to maintain too because you just have to, like, keep I don't know. I let it go because I'm like, "I got too many things going on to
it
worry
was
about a LinkedIn
senseless.
badge."
It
But
was
there is
senseless.
some good like, I will say there are some really cool, insightful messages on some of those because I've looked at a couple, I'm like, "Huh, that's
Mhm.
a okay." You know, I appreciate that if I wasn't following this specific thread. I will give kudos to that, but no, I don't care about the badge.
Yeah.
If it was a Xbox achievement,
Mhm.
maybe. But
Ooh, that's I might have some ideas. I have to get Photoshop out. We may be able to maybe we'll start issuing badges to other people for
have, like, little unlock achievements. That'd be awesome for a Discord. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love Discord too. That's another great one. Like, yeah, great way to connect with people.
Will's Essential Oils Discord.
Exactly.
So, I guess another thing, we kinda talk about community engagement, how important it is. What for someone who's breaking into the field or just wanting to, I would say, be more engaged in the community, what is some recommendations or advice that you might have for them?
Well, I think you said it. It's about contributing actual information, right?
Yeah.
And not just and when you see like I'm going to go for the social media route, or even if again Discord route, like wherever you're interacting, like don't just say, "Oh, that's cool." I mean, it's fine to say that, but like those opportunities, it sounds really weird and it seems forced at first when somebody's talking about, "Oh, this thing happened," and then you want to interject with your story. Like it feels like you're, but no, that's absolutely valuable because people are going to read that and be like, "Oh, that's an interesting perspective." And I know one thing I have noticed, especially in recent with some of the recent things I've been talking about, is not everybody's going to understand what you're actually posting about because they're going to read it however they are. And I can't tell you the number of comments I've had that are like, "Wait, you didn't get what I was saying, or you didn't understand what." And so go back into those and have conversations with those people and or talk and clarify those opinions like in get that's the point of it. Pretend like you're at a cocktail party and when somebody's replying to you, respond back to them and don't just make it arbitrary. I think that's one. The other part, and this I struggle with a lot. I think we talked about this when we were in person. It's like those of us who've been doing this for any amount of time, if you've got 3 or 5 years of experience, even at that point, you just kind of assume everybody else knows what you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like you told me this when we were talking about when I podcast, you're like, if you just did a video on how you set up your podcast, people would watch it. I'm like, really? Like, it wasn't that hard, right?
You're
And
like, "I bought a mic and I bought a subscription to a streaming service."
yeah, I'm like, I talked to two people who are really good at it, and they told me what technology to buy. Even
How
my
to rip off free music, and that's not copyrighted for legal reasons.
yeah,
I'll
I mean, it's like
disclose
it
that.
wasn't. Yeah,
You
it's like
know?
so what you have to say is probably important, and don't get caught up in. Yeah, I don't. I don't think anybody in well, I'm not going to say that. There's probably people in our industry who are doing things to get followers, and yeah, that's nice to have it if you, especially if you're using it as a revenue stream, and there's ways to do all that. But at the end of the day, if you're not providing out education and you're not actually engaging with people, nobody's going to care anyway. So even if you are a solopreneur with the best offering in the world, if all you ever do is talk about your company and basically advertise, like nobody gives a shit crap.
No.
So
No, as, like, you and I are posting, like, shorts and everything else and memes, I LinkedIn, like, I don't know, maybe it's the 2025 era that we're going through right now, but LinkedIn has some pretty awesome nerdy memes, and I am maybe it's just who I'm following or the LinkedIn algorithm gets me, but
I've seen that.
uh,
I think a lot of it is like we have Gen Z kind of like they're up in the professional, they're in their 20s now, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got, those of us using social media who kind of grew up on like I'll probably date myself a little bit. We used to send the inspirational posters like that before memes were a thing. That was
Oh,
like the
like with the
original meme.
cat, and it's like
Yeah,
hanging in there, and the cat's like hanging by a
right.
wire.
But then you would make a funny one. Like it's the whole like teamwork, a bunch of idiots, working together and getting nothing accomplished, all that stuff. And you'd have to email them to people, right? And so that's where my generation grew up on, and now we have social media way to explore that. And so that's where I love it. I mean, I post like I do have like kind of a like I post every day, but I do have like, at least like a loose schedule. Like I need to post meme, a couple days a week, right, or a couple times a week.
You're like, if I could post one meme a week, that's plus 100 followers now.
Yeah. Well, my challenge is to some of the obscure things that I like I love the TV show Community, and so
Oh my gosh, I love Community.
so I literally like try like how like the amount of effort I will put into trying to make a community meme relevant to cybersecurity or technology is probably way more effort than I would put into like a more meaningful post, because
I think my favorite GIF from Community is when they all have like different universes, and so the guy comes in with a pizza and everything's on fire, and like a person's missing an arm, just swinging it, putting out the fire, and I'm like, this is my day.
That's kind of, yeah, and that's an easy one. You'll see that one, and it'll be like the SOC team, the threat hunting team, the CISO, the client,
CISO walks in with pizza.
Yeah. That was my job. But once I got kind of like not like started moving in more to management stuff. Like I remember when I was working consulting, we had we were like racking and stacking stuff and configuring all these firewalls. It was way above my technology.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll go get you guys pizza. Like I'll help you put the stuff in there, and you guys can configure it. I'll buy you pizza.
Tell me what you're hungry for. I don't care. Just do it. I appreciate you. So, Will, as we're coming close to the last few minutes of this podcast episode, I always like to ask probably the two most difficult questions you'll ever have in your career. The first one being, what advice do you have for our listeners?
Which listeners?
Yes.
Yeah. What advice do I? Oh man, what is somebody else? I did another one, and somebody else asked me something like this. It was a little different, and I was like, man, I wish I'd have had time to prepare. And I guess that's why you did it.
Yeah. Worst question ever.
What advice for listeners? Oh. I'm gonna take something that you kind of said, and something that I've learned even more recently, and it's basically growth mindset. So, and it's something I learned, and I asked my kids every day. It's like, what did you fail at today? Right. So like, don't be afraid to fail. And when you do, share that with everybody, with your team, especially if you're in a leadership position, or if you're not, like,
yeah.
make talking about your failures okay and common, so that everybody can learn from them. I think that's probably from how you learn and get better. We all know, like, you screw up, and and everybody has that one story where they took down the server, or they left an any rule in, or whatever happened,
blocked something that everyone was using, and then caused
like
chaos.
the main tool that everybody used. Like everybody has that. Like, I would say that, like, share in your failures, and be okay making them. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I like that. I was really like, I'm not gonna lie, I really thought you were gonna go goo goo gaga. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's just for my sales folks.
Okay, and then the very last question, which is probably the most difficult question that I always save. Where can people follow you?
Oh, sure. That one's actually easy. So yeah, I'm on LinkedIn at /Wil Klu, 1L, WILKLU. I have a website, which is wilklu.me. Both of those places, obviously I'm super active on LinkedIn. If you send me a message, it's essentially like texting me. But if you send me crappy SDRs, depending on the mood, I may tell you how to do a better job, or I may just ignore you. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there for anybody listening to try to sell stuff. And then on my website, there's an outreach form there as well. I think that's what I have. Yeah.
What about your podcast?
Oh yeah, podcast. So on YouTube, at Keyboard Samurai, my podcast there. It's also on Spotify and Apple as well. You can find that.
Will's a
Where we
cool
talk
kid. We
about
like
the
Wil.
business of security. So that is for people like in my like working in the consulting world or in the services world or the product world. It's not your typical hey CISO, here's a better way to do things. It's more of like, how do we do things, build things, make things better. We'll learn from what it is we're doing in the services industry or in the product tech industry to help our clients better. So, lots of well, you were on. That one will be dropping here pretty soon too. So
Well, Wil, it was such a delight to have you in the lab, and it's always refreshing to find someone that, well, of course, knows what a meeple is, but also has such a diverse background that our listeners can absolutely benefit from. So, thank you again for joining us in the lab. And additionally, if you are listening to the podcast, please make sure that you like, subscribe, share, and comment, because that is how we grow our cybersecurity community, is how we engage and how we share what we learn and the passion that we bring with it. So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the lab again soon. Bye.